Our world is evolving around us on a daily basis. As time moves ever forward, so does the human race. As we come up with new inventions to take on bigger obstacles or improve our overall quality of life. Today we'll explore a mix of past innovations that you won't believe that we missed out on, as well as new novelties that are changing the lives of those around us. Buckle up for 12 incredible inventions you haven't seen before. Number 12. Coming in at number 12 on our countdown is this unique shield that effectively makes the person standing behind it invisible. This particular shield was manufactured by Hyper Stealth Biotechnology, a Canadian company that is looking to make games of hide-and-go-seek a hell of a lot harder. The material used in this shield is referred to as quantum stealth, and is a paper-thin technology that bends light around a target to make it appear to vanish completely. The material is designed for use in war zones, and could be used to disguise tanks, fighter jets, and other wartime vehicles or instruments. The material has the ability to also hide infrared, ultraviolet, and thermal signals, making it the perfect candidate for hiding when it really matters. I used to think the invisibility cloak in Harry Potter was just science fiction, but it turns out it was just a few years ahead of its time. Number 11. From the ultra-modern to the seriously antique, this next entry may be old, but it certainly hasn't lost its flavor. This antique safe was made in France in the late 1700s, and has a very unique and interesting way of opening. Requiring 3 keys and the correct input with a combination of ordered switches, you weren't likely to have much luck breaking into one of these units with a dumb lock. And I hope you don't forget the combination, because otherwise you're going to have a pretty rough day. Something is just inherently satisfying about watching this safe being opened, and the sounds that accompany it are on par as well. One thing is for sure, this safe was meant to hold one of your most prized and indispensable belongings. So make sure you throw the last roll of toilet paper in there before someone else gets to it. Number 10. The invention at number 10 on our list is absolutely bananas. This clip gives us a good look at exactly how hundreds of bananas are transported through a plantation. While it may be a bit more rudimentary than you would expect, I would say that it looks to be pretty effective. While the banana clotheslines is being escorted by a motorcycle here, the vehicle is variable depending on the plantation. Some utilize donkeys while others utilize tractors, and the list goes on. This guy certainly seems to be enjoying his job, and I'll admit, it does look like a good time. Just make sure you don't fall off, because getting pummeled by hundreds of bananas doesn't sound like the most pleasant way to go. Number 9. The wheelbarrow is one of the most useful tools available for many of us when hauling stuff around. But our next clip shows that even tried and true inventions can be improved upon. Being able to transport heavy materials without breaking your back may be nice, but what if you didn't have to walk? This would be the ultimate quality of life upgrade, and this guy found a way to do it. By rigging up a conventional wheelbarrow with a motor and a pedestal to stand on, this man proves that he's on another astral plane of reality as he speeds off on a street-legal red racer. This is undoubtedly the most efficient way to both haul stones and haul ass at the same time. Number 8. Going back to basics, there's something beautiful in the simplicity of older inventions. This next clip exemplifies that very well with an old-fashioned razor blade sharpener. By simply inserting the blade and turning the crank on top of the device, your razors will have new life breathed into them, as the grindstone within sharpens them until they're fine again. The cool thing about this device in particular is how it goes so far as to even flip the blade over for you. No convenience can be spared when looking at a quality invention, and this one has all the bells and whistles that it needs while maintaining a simple and beautiful old-fashioned form. Number 7. This next one truly makes me feel like we're living in the future. This drone is using a flamethrower attachment to safely and effectively clear debris from these power lines. While I can think of a million different uses for a drone carrying a literal flamethrower, this one seems like the most practical. While it is terrifying to say this, these do appear to be commercially available. If you're willing to drop $1,500, you too could have a remote-controlled flying flamethrower. On the website that I'm reading, it is described as being designed for remote ignition of aerial and ground targets, bringing new levels of efficiency and manageability to agriculture. All I can say is, please use responsibly. Number 6. At the halfway point of our list is one of the strangest and most interesting takes on a puzzle that I think I've ever seen. The electromechanical Rubik's Cube boasts a few unique features, including but not limited to floating in midair and solving itself. What appears to be literal magic is made possible due to magnetic levitation, and the self-actuating motors inside the cube are constantly adjusting the position of its magnets in order to lock with the base plate. It is amazing to think how far humanity has come, because outside of the last couple of decades, this exact display would have surely been heralded as magic. While this is an insanely cool project, and something I would love to have on my desk in the future, I must admit that I'm a bit bummed that a Rubik's Cube is better at figuring itself out than I am. Number 5. What kind of list of inventions would this be if we didn't have at least one that made your life easier in the kitchen? No, it's not a floating microwave. It's a well-designed little box that makes the creation of shish kebabs much easier and safer than before. I can definitely appreciate a good shish kebab, but I'm pretty sure I'll be picking up one of these for myself in the future. You just have to press your meat of choice down into the box, pack it in tight, and then skewer and cut it. Simpler, quirky inventions like this that are really good at making one task a lot simpler are some of my favorites. I'm sure this will end up on one of the infomercials that I accidentally tune into at 3 in the morning. Number 4. Next up, we have something that may be a bit more practical than a specialized shish kebab maker. This log splitter with adjustable and replaceable blades is incredibly satisfying to watch, and I'm sure is even more satisfying when you realize you don't have to take an axe to every piece of firewood. Being able to adjust it so you get the perfect cut every time is a great feature so you can tackle all different shapes and sizes of logs. I may be alone on this one, but honestly, I could watch this thing go for hours and still be pretty entertained. With one innovation, they managed to turn splitting wood from a chore into a pretty cool looking activity, and for that, I have to give them props. Number 3. Speaking of oddly satisfying machines, this next one qualifies for that as well. This toothpick packing machine seems to be incredibly specialized and specific, but it seems to do its job quite well. Watching the toothpicks drop into the loading bay and then get shaped and shoved into the containers is just fascinating to watch for some reason. Just make sure to never misplace your hand, because I feel like it would suck to get impaled by hundreds of tiny toothpicks. I sort of want one of these machines so when trick-or-treaters swing by my place on Halloween, I can just pack a container of toothpicks and send them on their way. They'll need it for all the candy stuck between their teeth, so I guess it's practical, even if they may not appreciate it. Number 2. At number 2 on our list is one of my personal favorites, because it seems to just do everything right. If you've ever filled sandbags with a shovel, you may know how much that entire process sucks. But luckily we live in 2020, and now have a future-proofed solution for this inconvenience. This sandbag filler completes the entire process in one fell swoop, and as with so many other things on our list, is incredibly satisfying to watch. The best part of the entire process is how the bags drop down and are tied up automatically, effectively making these guys ready to ship immediately. These type of things really make me appreciate all of the minor conveniences that modern technology provides for us. Number 1. Coming in at the top spot on our countdown is this absolutely insane tree cutting machine. It's incredibly impressive to watch and makes the process simpler and far quicker than ever before. The machine essentially manhandles trees, gripping them towards their base and making quick, clean cuts in order to remove it. From there, it lifts the entirety of the tree and begins making precise cuts exactly where it needs to in order to make the hauling process manageable and efficient. Speaking of efficiency, this honestly may be one of the most efficient machines I've ever seen. It is amazingly precise with its movements and cuts, and turns the entire process into a 10-second ordeal. For all of my fellow environmentalists, this particular video was shot on a tree farm that is completely sustainable and renewable, so more trees will be planted in order to take the place of the ones shown here. As time progresses, we are guaranteed to see more innovations and modern conveniences unlike ever before. Something being worked on in a garage or basement today could be an industry-leading product of tomorrow. So, keep your eyes peeled, because there's a 100% likelihood that we'll have more incredible inventions that you haven't seen before.